about not only the protection of our rights and our liberties, our religious freedoms, our right to bear arms, our right to find and use our God-given gifts, to make our own mistakes, to find our own way. It is also a document intended to prevent the concentration and the abuse of power. That is what the Constitution is. I'm a constitutional conservative. And I'm a constitutional conservative, as are you, because I know that human nature doesn't change, and therefore the Constitution is as brilliant, as relevant a document today as the day it was written. And everything that ails us in this nation can be fixed if we will go back to the two fundamental principles upon which this nation was founded: that each of us are gifted by God, and that power concentrated is power abused. This is what unites us as a nation, but we have forgotten these two basic things. We have forgotten them. Not all of us, but too many of us. And the frustration and the anger that we see in the United States today is because people have figured out the system ain't working anymore. It's corrupting, and it is corrupted. 80% of the American people now think the federal government's incompetent and corrupt. They're right. They're right. And 80% of the American people also think that we have a professional political class. And by the way, they don't just mean politicians. It's the whole system. It's the politicians. It's the special interests. It's the media. It's the crony capitalists. It's that whole system. Baked into one, it is power concentrated. We have had too much power and too much money concentrated in the hands of too few people for too long. Now, our founders were also pretty smart about something else. George Washington said, in fact, how many of you have ever been to Constitution Hall in Philadelphia? So, if you've gone through Founders Hall, it's a fantastic place, but if you've been there to Statuary Hall, you will see above the life-size statues of our founders, you will see a quote from George Washington. I won't get it exactly right, but basically what he said was, "The Constitution will live in the citizens of this nation." And that's right. And if it doesn't, the Constitution will die. But George Washington also said something else. In his farewell address to the nation, which would be 200 years ago this September, roughly, in his farewell address to the nation during the plus, he said, "Beware the rise of political parties." Now, we're all political activists. We're all Republicans. But he said, beware the rise of parties, because parties can end up taking on a logic of their own. Think about how politics is covered on television today. It's like a sport. Who's up? Who's down? Who's drafted? Who's not? I mean, it's sort of indistinguishable from ESPN. I was watching CNN on the plane here. Literally, I watched 3.5 hours of the Trump plane, the Trump car. It's like a sports match, except that it isn't, of course. Politics, yes, it's a sport. Yeah, it's a match. But politics and politicians and the policies they pursue impact every single person's life. So it's more than a game. And George Washington's point in his farewell address was that sometimes we can get so caught up in party politics and whose team. I'm wearing the red jersey, you're wearing the blue jersey, the red guys have got to win. Sometimes we can get so caught up in party politics that we forget about governing. And we forget about what really matters. And we forget about who we really are and what we're really about. And so I come here tonight to say, in the heat of this election battle, and let's face it, it's been crazy, different, unprecedented. And my guess is it's going to keep being crazy, different, and unprecedented right through here till November. But as we get all caught up in that and stay caught up in that, let us not forget who we are. We are the party of Lincoln, a president who was prepared to sacrifice everything so that the nation of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. We are the party that believes that power is best handed to the citizens and the communities and the states of this great nation, not concentrated in the hands of too few in Washington, D.C., even if they do have an R on their jersey. We are the party that understands that it is not big business that drives this nation, it is small business. And I'll tell you, I was the CEO of what we turned into a $90 billion firm. But I can also tell you that all that, the tax code, the regulatory structure, everything about the system in Washington, you can handle it if you're a $90 billion firm. But you can't handle it if you're a 9-person real estate firm. Most Americans start the way I did, in a little company. It's little firms, family-owned businesses and farms, you know this, but we're the party that understands this. Most Americans start there. In fact, it is small businesses, new businesses, family-owned businesses that create 2/3 of the new jobs in this country and employ half the people, and we are crushing them. And so we are crushing opportunity, and we are extinguishing hope in too many people. When government takes the opportunity to have the dignity of work away from its own people, we have come a very long way from who we are supposed to be. I've traveled all around the world. I've also traveled to West Virginia or to the Central Valley of California. I've seen the look on people's faces when they are no longer able to work because their government has decided that the work they do shouldn't be done anymore. I've had vets, powerful, fighting, proud men come up to me with tears in their eyes and tell me how powerless they feel because they cannot navigate the bureaucracy of the VA to get the care that they have already so richly earned. I've seen moms despair over their ability to educate their children or to support their children. Too many people in this country feel powerless, and that should not be part of this nation's DNA, because this was intended to be a citizen government where the power is with the people. I tell you all this so that we remember who we are. We remember that we are the party that understands how powerful individuals can be. We are the party that understands where opportunity and entrepreneurship and innovation come from. We are the party that understands that if you take away people's most fundamental rights, rights protected by the Constitution, it is a fast slide down to tyranny. We are the people who understand that this nation is unique and exceptional in the world. We are not a perfect nation, but we are an exceptional nation. And because we are exceptional, we have a duty to lead. None of these things can we forget in the heat of this battle. And none of these principles can we cast aside when we win. In fact, when we win at whatever level, and I can assure you that I will spend a lot of time the next 6 months making sure that we have great senators and great congressmen and women, because that will matter. We do have 3 co-equal branches of government, and maintaining our control over the legislative branch of government is critical to ensuring that the Supreme Court not become yet another out-of-control branch of government. And it is hanging in the balance, as you well know. But winning an election is just a point in time. We have a long time to restore the principles and the policies and the values that have made this nation great. And I believe that is our challenge. That is our challenge. It is our great opportunity as well. And so I hope it is a challenge that you will accept, not just for this election cycle, but